Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
Good.
Good. We're so excited to have you. So in just a moment, Coach Riley will come up, make some opening remarks, and then we can start with some questions. Just take a glance over at me and I'll call on you for the questions. And then when you do ask a question, please state your name and affiliation just so we can still get familiar with everybody. Awesome. With that, bring up Coach Riley.
That's good. All right, good morning, everybody. Excited to be here on this second signing day to announce our class. It's been a very unique ride to begin to put this class together, and I would say that certainly far from done with the amount of roster flexibility that we have right now. So this is something that I'm sure will continue all the way up through the spring and certainly into the summer as well. So but very proud of. First thing I would say is very proud of our staff, and I know a lot of you will get a chance to meet our coaches tomorrow and get a chance to visit with these people, but our staff has done a tremendous job. You talk about coming in at the end of November, where your main signing day is just a few weeks away, and really assembling a class that took, I think, all of our talent, skill, patience to assemble, and the staff really did a phenomenal job. You could see the reputation that our coaches have, the connections that they have, being able to piece this thing together and build these relationships with these kids and these families in such a short amount of time. And would also mention our support staff. I know we're going to introduce those people to you guys here in the near future, but our support staff that we've assembled has done a great job kind of meshing with our coaches and starting to form our team, and they really have just been outstanding at coming together, building again such a fantastic recruiting class in a short amount of time. So very thankful for those people and the job that everybody's done. As far as the class, we're certainly excited about it. It's been very unique, building it this way with the transfer portal obviously being kind of in some ways the focus point of this class, certainly in terms of the number of players that we've brought in up to this point. And the portal has been an advantage for us. There's really no other way to say it. And when you're trying to really revamp a roster and fill the amount of spots that we're attempting to fill, being able to have all these different mechanisms to use to fill that has been extremely valuable. And it's been rapid. You typically grow up being used to recruiting players for 1 year, 2 years, and all of a sudden some of these things are happening in a matter of days or even a matter of weeks, and to be able to get all that assembled so quickly, to build the relationships, to be able to really express to these players and families the vision of our program here at USC in such a short time frame has been a challenge. But again, a lot of credit to everybody, a lot of credit to our administration. Everybody here at USC for working with us. Everybody's just really come together and done a phenomenal job, and that's what we said on day one here. We said it's going to take everybody coming together to build a program here that we're all extremely proud of in the future. And we've seen, I think here in the first couple of months, we've been able to see some great examples of that, of the coaches, the recruiting staff, the administrators, people from the university, everybody working hard together. Even though we're still learning each other, just some great synergy going on here early, so very proud and excited about that. Team is doing very well. It's been great here the last few days to be off the road recruiting, with it now being a dead period, to be back in-house daily with our guys, to see them train, to be able to spend some of the limited time that we get with them to start installing our offensive and defensive systems. You see leaders start to emerge. You see some of the players, obviously, that we retained and players that have been here really starting to raise their games, welcome in the new players, and you see those relationships and bonds already starting to form. So certainly excited about that, and can't wait to continue on here to the off season, lead into spring ball. I would say that first day of spring practice can't come soon enough. So we'll certainly be counting down the days to get there. But again, thrilled with this class, and be looking forward to answering any specific questions that you all have.
Yeah, Coach Jim Hill, Channel 2. Congratulations. in a sport where recruiting is so crazy at times, and your reputation is impeccable, how much would you say your reputation plays in getting some of these young men to commit here, like the Heisman Trophy favorite from last year?
I mean, I wouldn't say my reputation. I think this university's reputation, this football program's reputation plays a huge part in it. I think I would point to just our staff as a whole, not me or anybody individually. I think players can look at this staff and see that we've done the things that they want to do here, and whether a lot of us have done it together at our previous institution, and then we certainly, as we said, when we introduced the staff, we brought in some very key pieces, people that have been very successful in some major programs, people that have won championships and have done it the right way and experienced, some of the best things this sport has to offer. And we brought all these people together under one common goal. And I think when the recruits have gotten a chance to get here on campus and get around us and start to see how well the staff has meshed together in a short amount of time, and you look at the history and pedigree of the staff, I think it does add some credibility to it. That this is not some pipe dream that none of us have experienced. We've been in these moments, we know what these things look like, and most importantly, we're all excited to be here together doing it at USC.
Hey, Lincoln, Antonio Morales from The Athletic. Could you just walk us through what that process was like re-recruiting Caleb when he entered the portal?
Yeah, it's unique. It's not anything you ever really expect to go through. I mean, it's difficult because you have all these players, Caleb included, that you coached, that you recruited, and then all of a sudden, one day you're coaching at a different institution and you can't contact these guys. You can't, other than the day I left, you can't say bye. The rules don't permit you to do any of that, and so there's a long period of time where there's zero communication, and then all of a sudden, Caleb and his family make the decision to jump into the transfer portal, and we had a conversation shortly after that, and I don't think we talked even one bit of football. It was just kind of like a long lost friend, kind of like it was kind of good just to be able to reconnect, and yeah, and I think we kind of, took it step by step. There were some things certainly that he knew about, myself, about a lot of the members on our staff that he had a positive experience with, and then obviously there's a lot of things new with a new program, a new city, a new university, and I think the biggest thing was making sure that this was going to be the right fit for us as a program, the right fit for him as far as his development as a player, and for him as a student, and I think the more we went through it, we had a chance to lay that all out, and he and his family looked at the options. At the end of the day, felt like USC was going to be the best.
Ryan Abraham, USCFootball.com. Obviously, you're familiar with Caleb Williams, but how's the evaluation process when you're going from other programs trying to get guys out of the transfer portal as opposed to recruiting and evaluating high school players?
It's probably easier because the majority of these guys, you have college film, and I would say the projecting, there's not as many variables when you're watching college film. You're watching guys at this level. A number of guys, we're watching them play against teams that we've maybe played against, we're familiar with. And so I would say the evaluation on a football, just the football part of it is probably easier. High schools, a lot of times you're trying to weigh level of competition, what do they do schematically, there's a lot of different variables at that point. So I would say that part's easier. The toughest part is typically, unless it's somebody that you've known before, had a previous relationship with, you're getting to know somebody very, very quickly. And the timeline is so accelerated that it's got to come together pretty quickly. So yeah, probably easier on the film, tougher on the relationship side.
Adam Gross, Orange County Register. Lincoln, just what is it that makes Caleb such a strong fit in your offense?
He's a talented player. Felt that from when I got to see him in high school. Felt like he had all the tools to really be a good player. And I think most importantly, he's a confident young man. He works really hard at his craft, and he does a great job of bringing people together. He's got a great feel for people and a great feel for being a leader at a young age. So he certainly was thrown into some unique situations as a true freshman for us last year and handled them well. And I think he'll be a really positive member of this team. I think that's the thing he's most excited about right now, is to just like to go to class, like to get with the guys, like to just kind of get back just in the flow of being part of a team and part of a university. And that's what he loves to do. So he'll be a great addition to our quarterback room and to our team.
Yep, Ryan on GeorgiaSports.com. There was a lot of interest and anticipation in the timing of Caleb's announcement. At what point did you know, and was there ever any suspense along the way, especially after Jackson left the program?
That's a little bit the nature of the beast this day and age. And we've had a lot of internal conversations about that. How recruiting or signing one player can affect other players. We understand that's the nature of the beast, but having been in this position for a few years, I've learned I don't try to project as much anymore. I'm just trying to build the best roster that we can at USC. And with the transfer portal right now and the fact there's really no guardrails, players can leave you virtually 365 days a year if they choose. And that's just part of how it is right now. And so you can't predict all of that, and you can almost drive yourself crazy trying to. And so for me, I think our standpoint has been, we're going to be honest with all parties involved, whether it's a current player on our roster, somebody that we're recruiting, about what we're doing, about future plans, try to be very transparent, but that we're not going to recruit or try to build our roster out of fear that people will leave. You can't operate that way, and we're just not going to. So we're going to build the best roster we can with people that want to be here, believe in the vision, and believe in this program. And so excited the way that it played out. Again, it was unique, and you certainly get that. There's a lot of unique things going on right now in college football and recruiting in general. But certainly excited that Caleb chose to be here. Timeline of it, I don't know that I want to get into specifics, but he got in school or registered, whatever we want to say, late Friday, and that was that.
Nate Ackerman, Annenberg Media. How do you feel like the expectations have sort of changed in the last few weeks when you think about all the players that you've been able to bring in?
Oh, they haven't changed. I mean, they'll have changed on the outside, but I've told you guys from day one, our expectations will never change. I mean, that's just not how, you don't bring in a staff like this and all of a sudden set the bar low. I mean, that's just not, you don't do that. The bar should never be low at USC. I mean, this is one of the best programs of all time, and we feel like we've really assembled the championship staff. And regardless of one player, one recruiting class will never cause our expectations to fluctuate. Our expectations were high the day they got here, and they will be high as every single day that we're here coaching. That will not change.
Being honorable guest at Trojan's Radio Network. Without driving yourself crazy, then how many holes do we still have to fill between now and the time the season starts? All things being equal.
Yeah, we still have, I'll say this, I don't want to put numbers on it right now. We still have a unique amount of flexibility in terms of being able to still evaluate our roster and make adjustments as needed. So obviously spring ball will be helpful to be able to evaluate and really get on the field and coach these guys. I think we have a lot more answers than we have holes right now. I'll put it that way. But also being realistic that we know there's going to be another surge of people in the transfer portal after these spring balls across the country start to wrap up, and I believe we're going to be in position to continue to build this roster at that time as well.
Dennis Freeman, News for Us Online. Coach, in regards to the class, was there a particular area that you guys were pursuing going into the signing these student athletes?
In terms of like position?
Yes.
I don't know that there was one position on the team that we felt like we didn't need to address. And not all that means it has to happen for this year. I mean, you're obviously, we took some older guys in the transfer portal that will have shorter careers here at USC. We get that, but also there's a future to look at as well. And you've got to, I think in this day and age, again, with the transfer portal and how everything's changed, I think you're constantly building all parts of your roster. I mean, that really, you just never really get to a part where, all right, we're set at O-line, we're good there. Like, I don't think that'll happen much anymore. I think you're constantly looking to upgrade, and you've got to constantly be ready with answers because it can change quickly. And both in having the opportunity to bring players in or potentially losing a player. So yeah, that's an ongoing process. As you see, we added quite a few. I think we got most of the positions covered on the team, and I think we'll continue to add several on both sides of the ball and at all positions after spring wraps up.
Rashawn Haylock, KCLA5. Coach, with this changing landscape right now with the NIL, what challenges does that present in terms of recruiting and coaching?
Well, the NIL has become a major factor in recruiting, and I think, I don't know if that was the intent of it. I know that it wasn't, but I think it was very much anticipated. You saw an initial surge of NIL when it became official in July with current college players, but I think that the real surge has happened now that the recruiting got competitive here, and you knew that's where it was going to you were really going to feel the impacts and really see it change, and that certainly has happened. There's evidence all across the country. So it has changed. It's a factor nowadays. It is. Anybody that says it's not is just simply not paying attention. And I think it's another area for us with the support that we have here in our program, the obvious opportunities being in Los Angeles. I think it's going to continue to be another way that we as a program can separate ourselves, and we absolutely plan to do that.
Paul, you got ESPN. In your first signing day press conference, you said you guys were kind of open for business when it came to this transfer portal. Is this kind of what you envisioned in terms of the amount of players that came in and the diversity of players? And then to that, getting Caleb might not change the expectations like you're saying, but how does it change when you can go on the field right away?
The first question, I think I'm excited about what we've done in a short amount of time. I mean, I think it's been a very successful first couple of months, and I think we got some key players here, like not only guys that maybe fit the bill a certain position or you feel like they're going to be able to help on the field this fall, but also we've got some guys that are going to be key parts of this team in terms of leadership, in terms of building the environment and culture that we want to be synonymous with USC football. So whether it's Shane Lee, certainly comes to mind as he's one of the guys that I'm obviously excited to be here to play, but has a strong desire to be one of those leaders on this team. Travis has that, Austin has that. There's several guys, especially some of the older guys in the class, that I think are just as excited to come in and have an opportunity to lead and share their past experiences and help our program grow as they are to go perform on Saturday. So I think the excitement around that for me is to get a few key guys like that you feel like can fill those roles was very important. Obviously we want to add as many good players as we can. We want to build this roster as much as we can. Caleb fits the bill like a lot of these players do that we feel like they could come in and upgrade the roster. I think adding Caleb to our quarterback room gives us a better quarterback room right away. It's going to provide a lot of really positive things. But I think honestly, anybody that we sign, I could say that about right now.
We'll do one more. Ryan, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah. In future years, what's the ideal balance between transfer additions and some high school kids? And then with the portal, what's the process of evaluating you? Checking every hour, every day?
Let's go a little bit smaller than that. Yeah. I think in the future, certainly, I don't think the goal is to rely as heavily on the transfer portal as we have right now. I think this is a unique year, and a unique situation that we're at in terms of the roster, and we as a staff felt like this was going to be the best way to address the things that needed to be addressed. Certainly, we would like to have much more balance with the number of players that we sign out of high school compared to the transfer portal. I don't know that I would want to put a number on it, but we certainly, I would fully expect in the future that our class has a much higher percentage of high school players than this one currently does. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it evolves. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's really going to ask how. At the end of the day, it's did you put together the best roster you could and give us the best chance to accomplish what we came here to do? And so that's our focus right now. And as this roster builds and as we evolve, we'll certainly continue to evaluate that. And as far as the portal, as you can imagine, I mean, things change from one minute to the next. So we have a team that's very dedicated behind the scenes, that does a great job keeping our staff informed, and so again, that goes back to some of the key support staff people that we've hired, and really that structure as a whole that we've put together. They've really done an outstanding job up to this point.
Great. Thank you, Coach Riley. Thank you, media. Appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.